We want to thank our outstanding sponsor, Touring & Cruises Travel. It's the same team as Touring Plans Travel, but with a new name. Their travel advisors will take care of your Disney or other travel destination needs. Make sure you tell them Rope Drop Radio sent you. Now, on to the show.
Helping you navigate the Disney parks.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
You're listening to Rope Drop Radio.
Welcome to another Rope Drop Radio. Derek and Doug talking all things Walt Disney World Resorts. Doug?
Yes. We got to stay somewhere. We might as well figure out where everyone likes to stay. Or should we say, thinks they like to stay?
That's it. We sent out a survey to all of our listeners. We had close to 200 fill out the survey, send us all the details, and then we have a bunch of Patreons giving us quotes. So today we're going to break down from the worst to the best, all the Walt Disney World resorts based on your vote. Not Doug and I. Doug and I did separately, but this is your vote, what you think's the best. So we're going to have some fun, and we're going to give some pros and cons at each, but it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, and it was hard because it's easy to rank the values against values, moderates against moderates, deluxes against deluxe. Or people were messaging me like, well, am I on a budget? How long is my trip? I'm like, it's just whatever you want. It's whatever. You pick. But there's no rules.
Don't deep think.
Just rank them 1 through 22.
That's what it was. And
and we'll explain a little more when we get to it.
We will. It was great for us. No new Patreons this week, but it's okay. You can still go and listen to other Patreon episodes, including my bonus audio from my recent trip to Green Bay.
Yeah.
Also, Go Pack Go, winning in the playoffs. And your Chiefs won too, Doug.
I know. Maybe we'll meet Derek.
We say that pretty close to every year.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, our after show, we'll probably dive a little deeper. Into the resorts and the numbers, which we got.
Fascinating numbers.
Good stuff. Another way to support the show is to leave an Apple Podcast review. Leave us a 5-star review and we will read it on air eventually. All right, this one is titled Great Disney Podcast that is entertaining, informative, and really funny. 5 stars by Lolz 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure I'm close. All right.
I'm glad you can count.
That's tricky for me. All right. This show is not just a great resource if you are planning a trip to Disney. It is also an entertaining podcast. The hosts are very funny. I am often laughing out loud at some of their comments and stories. I look forward to every new episode. It is worth your time to listen, even if you are not planning a trip. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you, Loads.
Yeah, thank you very much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Keep leaving those reviews. Thank you guys so much. So, other reviews to transition to the show are when you rank and review the resorts. That's what we're going to be doing. Walt Disney World has 22 of them. It took me a minute. I'm not going to lie, Doug. This was not an easy task to do. It took more time than I thought to really sit down and go through them. There's some hair pulling between a couple of them. So we're going to go through the list
a dozen different ways and be happy with how I did it. I'll put it that way. There is no right or wrong. However you rank them is how you rank them.
Yep.
And also, I just threw this out. There wasn't much time. So when Derek said we sent it out to all our listeners, it was like our listeners that were on social media yesterday.
There you go.
Right. It wasn't, it was a short window.
Close to 200. We still got a good sample size.
Yeah. And there was a lot of people that looked and went like, yeah, that's too much work. I did get those messages.
I did got a few of those messages. Yes.
So thank you to the people that completed the task. And how we got the number 22. Let me just clarify this. If it's we didn't count Grand Floridian and then the villas of Grand Floridian separately. We just said Grand Floridian. Same thing with the Beach Club and Wilderness Lodge, all lumped into one. We know there's lots of room categories, different. Actually, you got the DVC component, you got the regular component. We lump those all together. However, there is this thing called Saratoga Springs and Old Key West. They're standalone. They're DVC villas. We put those on there separately, right? And then the one that I wasn't sure about was Contemporary and Bay Lake Tower. Very separate buildings, but they share some amenities. So I went ahead and it's just Contemporary. huge Bay Lake Tower fan. Hopefully you just lump that in with the contemporary and called it a day. So I just want a disclaimer. Also, Swan and Dolphin, not on the list. Shades and Green, not on the list either.
So all
Reasons?
your hate
Yeah.
mail can be sent to Doug
Right to
McKnight
Doug.
on Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah, at Dr. Doug 16 on the things. So yeah, like Swan and Dolphin not owned and operated by Disney World. Neither is Shades of Green. Not everyone can even stay at Shades of Green. So there you go. I think one of our comments actually mentioned Shades of
It
Green, so that
does.
will be
Yes, it
fun.
does.
Yeah.
We'll read that there at the end.
There. Was that the disclaimer? Was that
That
enough?
took way too long. Let's get
Dude,
into
I'm
this.
still
Doug.
gonna get yelled at though.
I know you are, and I love it.
Why wasn't this separated? Like, okay, we're starting at the bottom, number 22, and this is one where people can yell at me for not separating things. There is primitive camping and there is RV camping, but guess what? The campsites at Fort Wilderness, its own category, coming in at number 22 and by a good margin.
Yep.
Yeah, Derek, where did you have this one? What number?
22.
Same here, 22.
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
If
Doug and Derek share a tent.
You know what? There'd have to be like 6-figure donation to something for that to happen.
Okay.
And it would have to be a donation to something that's like my children's scholarship fund.
Okay. Good to know.
I'll sleep in a tent if it can help pay for my kids' college.
All right. That's coming up.
Throwing it out there actually as one's about to go. All right, let's move on. We don't need to dwell on that. All right. Next up, number 21, All-Star Sports. Coming right in where it belongs, Derek. Where did you have this one? I'm kind of wondering because I know
19.
your son loves it.
Yep.
19, not 21. Yeah. Okay,
No.
so I'm real intrigued as to what on earth you like worse than sports. So I have sports dead last out of the actual like hotel rooms that you can book because they're just not as nice. And there's always a gazillion youth group activity like football and cheerleading and soccer everywhere. I don't need to stay with a bunch of teenagers or middle schoolers. Period.
Good point. Yeah.
What makes you rank it?
My son's love for it and the nostalgia we've had staying there.
Okay, so nostalgia, something you can't.
Great memories with kids.
Box up and sell.
Nope. Yeah. I have nothing to say good. I agree with all your things. This was not easy in some of them.
No. Next,
number 20.
Number 20. So number 20 on the listeners list. We'll call this the listeners list.
Ooh, I like it. We should have started that at the beginning of the
We
episode.
should have, yeah. All right. All Stars Music coming in at number 20. My guess is it's like the most generic theming. I mean, it's just like instruments. That's my guess. You, Derek, have a guess here as why it's the lower?
Oh, I put it at 20 too.
You put it at 20. Okay.
Yes, I did.
Okay. I have it at 18.
Oh, fascinating. You do like music.
So the reason I have it above movies is not because of the theming or decor or anything. It's because they have family suites.
They do.
So it opens up to Sleep 6, something you don't see very often at a very affordable price. All-Star Music come through the family suites, refurbished, just like movies, which we stayed at once together, Derek. So
yes, we did.
Yeah. Anything else to add?
One of our listeners ranked this as number 1.
And my guess is family suites has to be it.
Yeah.
Has
got to be. Affordable family suites.
There's a lot of people who love the All-Stars, and God bless them. Because if that's how you get to go to Disney, that's how you get to go to Disney.
Then go. One bus stop. It's great.
All right. Next up on the listener list is All-Star Movies at number 19. Derek, where did you have movies?
18.
That's pretty much in line, right?
Yeah.
I have it at 19, so I matched. How about that?
Oh, there you go.
And so I have it below music because of the suites, but I think the theming here is a little better. Like it's where you have your Mighty Ducks area, Derek. So they have a Dole Whip type of drink at the pool bar. So that's not to be underappreciated.
I enjoy this resort. I think if you're it's affordable and you can get there.
Okay, so next up on the listeners list is number 18 at the Cabins at Fort Wilderness. And this is an interesting one. It's getting upgraded, and I think most people are taking that into consideration,
See, I did
actually.
not yet.
But I
Doesn't
mean,
come out
if you
till
were to,
September.
okay, well, the cabins. So I had them at 20. Where did you have them?
21. I've never stayed there. I don't feel like I can give it an honest review.
So you just bash it and put it below the others. Got it.
Correct.
Jeez, come on. Did you do that to the other places you haven't stayed, sir?
Actually, yes. Yes, I have. You
Oh,
wait. I'm going
jeez.
to upset some listeners on this
So
one.
not impartial, Derek. Okay.
Yep.
So I've stayed at the cabins. I have the cabins just above All Star Sports, and let me tell you, it's splitting hairs. Just the amount of time it takes to get anything. It's not a great place to stay if you're wanting to do the parks, but they're gonna be beautiful. They're gonna be beautiful. All right, I think the first 5 were a gimme, right?
Yeah.
Now it
Absolutely.
gets interesting. Now it's all over the place.
Yep.
And coming in at number 17 on the listeners list is Saratoga Springs. I have my theory as to why this is so low, Derek. I'll
Okay.
let you tell me where you have it first.
Saratoga is 14 for me.
I have it up at 12. So
Ooh.
significantly higher than the listeners, but I think it's just a resort not many people have stayed at. It's gigantic and spread out, so if you don't have a rental car, it kind of stinks. It's a
But it is
great
right there
resort
by the springs and
if you like that, right?
yeah, okay.
But if you like Disney Springs, it's fantastic. If you have a rental car,
It's
it's
got the tree
really nice.
houses.
Yeah, those are interesting. Never stayed at one of those, but we stayed at
Neither have I.
Saratoga Spring a couple times. We just stayed there
That could
this
be
last
our
summer.
June trip, you and I in a tree house.
Are you paying for it?
No, I'm just throwing things out there. Idea, no such
Okay.
thing as a bad idea.
Actually, no, I digress. All right. So, Old, next on the list, number 16 on the listeners list, Old Key West. So, a little theme here. Our 2
Hmm.
standalone old DVC resorts not faring real well with the listeners, are they?
No, this is 17 on my list. I've never stayed there. I'll get there someday, but it's got Olivia's, and that's a restaurant my daughter loves because her name's Olivia. That's about it. They went there. I haven't even gone to that one yet.
All right. Well, I have it up at 13. The rooms are gigantic.
They are.
Once again, if you have a rental car, you get to park basically in front of your room. It's reminds me of some off-property villa type places. So you kind of park right in front of your little building. It really, the rooms are gigantic. They're the biggest on property on average. So I had to bump it up because of that. And I have a rental car usually, and I've stayed there. So I have stayed at every one of these resorts. So I put it at 13. So all right, there's 2 deluxe resorts right out of the gate after the
Yeah.
bottom 5. I feel like the bottom 5 are separated by a margin though. So it is we're in the hair splitting section of the list now.
Also, take a shot every time Doug says hair splitting in this episode.
Ooh, I
You've
don't
already
know
done
what
like
my
3, and you don't
yeah.
know.
All right. So number 15 on the listeners list is art of animation. So kind of bottom half. It's a value, but it's
Yep.
got the family suites. They are expensive. A lot of people feel they're overpriced. I don't know if they are, because they do sleep 6 people. So Derek, where do you have art?
16. I'm right there with the mix, roughly. I like it. I've only stayed there once, but they do have the family suites.
They do, and the theming's cool. I made
Hmm.
my list prior to the survey, any results coming in. Just FYI for folks. And in the first few hours of the survey, stuff moved around a lot. It was wild to watch.
Yep.
I have art of animation right at 15. So I
Okay.
matched the listener spot on.
Nice. Good job. I was
Um,
off by 1. Yeah.
I could have put it a little higher because I do love that it has the Skyliner. But as we go forward, just reasons other places get higher. You know, just reasons. Art of
Yep.
Animation, number 15. A little surprised by how low that was for me when I was done and looking at my list, though. Kind of surprised me. I thought I'd have it above some moderates, but I did not, which really blew my mind. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get to why. All right, number 14 on the listeners list. I don't know about this one, listeners. I must not talk about it enough or share my love of it enough, Derek. It's Pop Century.
This one has gone up over the years for me, Doug. You know where it was. It was at the bottom for
It
a
was
while.
like
It
22
keeps moving
for
up.
you. You liked All Star Sports more than Pop Century
I
before, and
did.
I had to
Oh,
like. It was one of our trips. I'm like, no, Derek, we're not.
I
No,
have stayed
no.
there second most of all the resorts on property, I think now. Because it's affordable.
And
Pop
on
is
the
15.
Skyliner,
Yeah.
15.
So Pop is 15.
So you're right in line with the listeners, basically.
Yep.
Um,
This one moved around a couple times for me. I had to
okay.
it bounced a little bit.
All right. I have it up at 10.
Whoa.
I mean, the Skyliner, the price proposition for a
Pedals.
Skyliner and pedals,
There you go.
it's
Doug's favorite bar.
it's a horrible bar, but it's strong. They don't mess around there. Yeah, Pop Century. You can't complain about Pop Century. It's fantastic. I just stayed there in September.
Yeah.
Adults only. We stayed at a value and we spent more on food. So
That is the good thing about Pop.
yeah, if you go and you be like, you know what, we're gonna budget for food. We're over room. We could have stayed at Beach Club, but we stayed at Pop, and then we went and ate a lot of food. And one of those items was a pickle milkshake. Not doing that again.
No. All right.
Nightmares. Number 13. This one used to be one of my favorites. It's kind of sad. Port Orleans Riverside.
Yeah. This one has dropped, by the way. I had this at number 1 on my list 7 years ago.
Right. And the reason it slept 5 before anywhere else slept 5 and before you were a deluxe person, Derek. Let's
Yes,
be
that's
honest.
true. Yep.
You got bougie on us.
I did.
And
I really did. I used to only stay at moderates.
look at the difference between my pop ranking and your pop ranking. Like Derek's the bougie one here. So
What
Port
happened to
Orleans
me?
Riverside. They have it 13. Derek, where do you have it?
I nailed this one on 13. Yep.
I dropped it all the way to 17.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
Dude, I don't want to walk that far to get to a bus. I personally, I hate the internal bus at moderates. It slowly kills me on the inside. So there you go. Riverside just plummeted because of that to 17. It's down there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wonder how
All
many-
right.
I mean,
Moving on.
there are still one person gave it their number 1.
Hey,
So there are people out there.
dude, the theming is awesome. The pool is
Yep.
cool. There's a lot to love about. You go fishing in the fishing hole. There's a ton of cool things. I got great memories there too. It's where we met Mr. Ryan Wiley.
Yeah.
For a swim. So, all right. Anyway, on to number 12 from the listeners. This one really shocked me where I put it, and I thought it had the potential to be higher. I don't know. Maybe it got some number ones. Coronado Springs. So this was a weird one. 12. I think if we separated out Destino Tower and Coronado
Mhm.
Springs, they'd be in two very different places.
Yep. I agree.
I thought more of the overall resort rather than just the room at Destino Tower, and I put it at 16, Derek.
Oh my gosh.
Where'd you
I
have
have
it?
this up at 9. And it dropped a little bit there, but it moved around that. I like Coronado a lot.
Yeah, you have your hurricane memories there. I think
I do
that
have hurricane
boosted it.
memories. I think I've stayed this one the most out of any resort. Like
We've
days.
stayed there twice.
Yep. And I've stayed there
So
with my family a few times. And it's, Dahlia's is on top. It's
yeah,
a great resort.
it has good restaurants. It has good
Mhm.
bars, good lounges. The one drawback's the size and the busing, and I just can't get over that, I guess. All right. Next on the list, number 11. We're on a run of moderates, Derek. We've had Riverside, Coronado Springs, and now it's time at number 11 for Port Orleans French Quarter, coming in at number 11. So, where did you have French Quarter?
This one's close. I have it at number 12.
I have it at 14. So, in the
Really?
ballpark.
Even after all the Scat Cats you and I had together?
Yeah, but it's ahead of all the other moderates.
Yep.
I mean, it's just slightly behind Pop. It's one spot behind Old Key West for me, which is a
Okay.
deluxe resort, right? So Port Orleans French Quarter, number 14 for Doug.
I love the size. That's why it beats
Mm-hmm.
out Riverside for me. It's
Yeah.
small, it's intimate, that one bus stop, not too far. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would.
See, my difference is I have Riverside Coronado, then Art of Animation, then Port Orleans French Quarter as I'm going up on my list. And it's a size thing with French Quarter. That's why it ranks higher.
Yep.
That's really the only thing that gets it higher because it has the bar, it has the music, it has those other things, which the other moderates do have. So, except for the moderate that I have ranked the highest, it
Okay.
it's nightlife seems lacking, but it has something else that is very valuable. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. At number 10, all of the moderates were right in a row. Caribbean Beach coming in at number 10 from the listeners. So, Derek, where did you have Caribbean Beach in
Caribbean
there?
Beach is number 6 for me.
Okay, I thought it'd be higher. And
Yep.
why is that?
The Skyliner.
Darn right.
That alone is the reason why that resort has jumped up. And it's funny because I stayed there before the Skyliner and after, and it has
Mhm.
really helped it out a lot. And I
Hold
love the pool, love the
And they're
pool
redoing the
bar.
rooms too right now. So you're going to
Yes.
get a refurbished room. And to be honest, the rooms weren't that old to begin with
Yeah.
compared to some of the other resorts. So,
Good food options. I really like this one. And you can watch fireworks from the pool a little bit, and you might have to get out a bit, but yeah, it's a nice
yeah.
one.
And it's not just on the Skyliner, it is the Skyliner. You don't have to transfer anywhere. You can get on it and go direct to both
Oh, you
parks.
stay at Jamaica and you're golden.
Right. And there's other areas that are close walk to the Skyliner outside of Jamaica, but Jamaica's fantastic.
There's also a
Um,
bus stop not far from
mhm.
each one of the little areas to get to the other parks. Transportation here is what makes this resort almost top 5 for me at number 6.
And I also put it at number 6, Derek.
Oh, wow,
That's pretty
samesies.
crazy.
I know our number 1s are different, so
Yeah,
there we
I
go. I'm glad we
this
got
might be
something
the only
alike.
one that we have match. So, but yeah, Caribbean Beach is just solid. I do wish, that they could figure out the dining. Like it's gone through some changes. I haven't eaten at the new version of the sit down restaurant. I need to do that. So,
Yep.
all right, that was number 10. We were 4 off on compared to the listeners there, Derek. All right,
What
moving
do
into
we
the
know?
top 10. Number 9, the listeners have the Yacht Club. Right there by Epcot and Hollywood Studios. It's walkable,
It
but it's
is,
the
but
Yacht Club. So where do you put it?
it's 11 for me. I've stayed there once.
Okay.
The pool is at Saving Grace, and it does have a great bar. That's about it. Quick service, not great.
Mm-mm.
Transportation kind of annoys me because if you're on Beach Club side, you're closer to the Skyliner, closer to Epcot. It's kind of in the middle, and I wasn't a big fan of Yacht Club for what I paid for it too. It's why it drops.
I have it at 7. It's not super high compared to the other ones that I have nearby. I just, yeah, it doesn't just isn't my favorite. I know it's Alex Sinek's favorite bar is located in the Yacht Club, and I think it's his favorite because it's got TVs and sports and no one else there really, right?
Yeah.
Yacht Club, it's a decent place to stay. I think me having it 7, not too different than the listeners having it at 9. We're splitting hairs right now. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, I
there you
said
go.
it
He said
again.
it again.
Between the back end of the deluxes, right? So all right. Number 8, Derek. Number 8 for the listeners. Also number 8 for me. The Grand Floridian.
And number 8 for me.
Oh my goodness. We matched on
Yes.
all. Us
Three-way
and the
tie.
listeners. We're all on the same
This one
wavelength right
was
there.
weird for me because I've never stayed there. I've eaten there. I've been there. We go there quite a number of trips. We'll stop by. I love it during the Christmas season. And it just, I need to stay there. It might go up if
Yeah.
I ever actually get to it. So that's where it landed where it did.
I think we'll either go up or down. Like it
Yeah.
won't stay the same. Like because places you haven't stayed, you either have built up expectations from over time or like it's kind of like hesitations, right?
Yep.
Grand Floridian has both for me. like things that I really like, things that I love, things that I don't. And I've stayed there. I need to stay there again. We're,
Maybe in
you know,
June with me.
maybe I think we got a Royal or Grand Floridian lifestyle, but on a Pop Century budget.
That
But
sounds about right.
we can eat and drink at the Grand Floridian and then find our way back to
There
the
you
Pop
go.
Century. I don't know. Anywho, Grand Floridian. It's kind of an enigma. It is what I think the executives, when they built it, wanted to be number one on everyone's list, right?
And it should be like that's
That's
the
where I
thing.
want to
It's
stay. It's
every
flagship.
commercial is there. Yeah. And the fact that I've never stayed there blows my mind. Like we've gotten quotes, we've pre-booked it many times, and then we look at some of the other prices and maybe next time.
There's some good discounts out there right now, folks.
There are.
Maybe it's the deluxe. The discounts right now for the deluxes are crazy. So I know someone that was a family of 5 was staying at Art of Animation in a suite with the discount. Beach Club became the same price as Art of Animation. And it's like, yeah, you're going to go, yes, it's one room, but you're going to
Yeah.
go stay at the Beach Club.
Yep.
So there's discounts like that right now. So this is a good time to
There
plan
you
your
go.
travel
Book.
for this
Get a quote
year.
today. Touring and
And
cruises. Get a
and
quote.
if you've ever thought these deluxes that we're about to really, really talk about a lot, were always like pie in the sky, maybe they're not right now. Maybe 2024 is the time to
The
deluxe
year
it up.
you can become bougie like Derek.
Yes. The year of bouge. All right. That's number 8. Grand Floridian. You can also walk to the Magic Kingdom now, which I think it's a long walk, but you know what? We walked the Hollywood Studios. It's shorter than that. All right. Number 7. This one surprised me with where it landed, but I will be honest, it's in the middle of about 4 that were really close together score wise. So it could have popped up a couple spots. Number 7 is Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah, that surprised
Derek,
me.
I'm guessing you had Wilderness Lodge higher.
I did. Number 5.
Okay, yeah, just a little.
And if I ever stay at that in the cabin, I'm
That's
going to
number 1.
probably have it even like 1 or 2. If I ever
those,
get into one of those.
those cabins are fantastic looking. All right.
Also,
I
but here's what's fascinating. This had the second most number 1 vote. So people either love or hate this one, I feel
Yeah,
like.
not much in the middle. No one was putting in the 9 through 15 range. They're
Mhm.
putting it 18 or they're putting it 1 or 2,
Yeah.
right? So I didn't. I put it number 4, so 1 notch higher than you. I really do like it. I like the theming. It matches the Old Faithful Inn, the look and the aesthetic of that at Yellowstone so much that I think that just, I don't know, melts my frozen heart just a little bit. And that's how it ended up at number 4. I really like it.
Yeah.
Um,
Great
transportation
dining.
kind of stinks,
It
but
does.
everything else is really the dining. I love that it has every level of dining you can find. Like it has a really good counter service. Then it has Geyser Point, right?
Geyser Point is fantastic.
It's no
Top 5 bar.
ADRs,
Yep.
walk up dining
Outside,
or wait list
comfy
depending on the day.
chairs. Yeah.
Bison burger, good. It has good food, decent price point, and then you can ADR at Whispering Canyon, and then you kick it up to finer dining at Artist Point. So all different levels of dining in one place. You can sit by a fireplace with 1,000 screaming kids if you want to. So it's pretty cool, and a close parking lot. That
That it does have. That's a
is
good one.
something that is undervalued at a deluxe resort. Some of these deluxe resorts, the self parking is like a quarter mile away, and you're like, where? How many roads? What avenue do I? Yeah. So this one's right there, really close parking. Unlike the last couple we mentioned, Grand Floridian Yacht Club, no thank you. Their parkings are ways. So all right. Another one where the parking's fairly close, Derek. Number 6 on the listeners list, Riviera. I don't know. I think this is one where it's a lot of number 1s and 2s, and then a lot of really lows, because
Yep.
I don't think as many people have stayed there, right? It's a small resort, really, room-wise.
It's fantastic.
So where did you have it? 1, Derek?
Number 1.
Is it? Number 1,
Absolutely. And I
okay.
will be staying there in 50 days, give or take,
All right.
when this comes out. I love the Riviera. I love it so much. I love the intimacy, pool, bar Riva, the dining, but most of all, it's on the Skyliner, and you can get to Epcot and Hollywood Studios so quickly. It's got that little nook for reading, and it's got great art all around it. It's number 1. It's number 1 in my books, number 1 in my heart.
The counter service is fantastic. I had it so the listeners have it at 6. I had it at 5. The Skyliner's a plus minus though for me. At busy times, you might have to stand there a while to get a Skyliner, depending on what direction you're going at what time. There's like rush hour. Like you have to have room. Like we waited back in September for like what felt like eternity to get in a Skyliner to go over to get to Pop Century because Epcot was closing, right? And we were leaving Topolino's. We had drinks at the bar up there. You don't need a reservation. You just go into the bar. It's fantastic. Get all the fruity drinks you want. But it took us a while to get a Skyliner because it's in the middle of the thing. So
Yep.
that's the one drawback. I think that's what put it under Wilderness Lodge for me, and the lobby. So the lobby is like an afterthought.
No, I love the lobby now
What,
being
there's
what the lobby
poles.
is.
There's like the check-in desk and then a giant pole 4 feet away. Like who did that?
I like that it's small, like get out of the lobby. Some of the other ones on the list when they have these giant lobbies and gift shops, like it pulls in a lot of tourists. And what I like about this is that, it doesn't pull those added people in who are just going checking out other resorts. Keeps
Okay,
the intimacy.
Derek's being bougie again. He doesn't like
Again, of course. You
doesn't
asked
like
why
the
this is number 1. This is why it's number 1 on Derek's list.
so you
I will
don't
stop.
like
We
the
need to get,
commoners. I got it, Derek.
there you
Wow,
go.
I didn't expect this from Derek. If you had told me this would be Derek's opinions in 2016 when we started this, I would have laughed
Yes,
and
I have
laughed
changed a lot
and
with this show
laughed.
over the years.
Yeah, that is a Derek statement right there.
All right, let's keep going
The
on. I can talk
lobby.
about the
How do
Riviera.
you like that lobby? Okay, all right. There's nothing to like about that lobby. Anyway, number 5 by the listeners, the Boardwalk Inn. So, number 5, pretty high rank. It's got a wonderful location. It's got the boardwalk for entertainment. Where did you put it, Derek?
Number 10. This is where I'm going to hurt some people. I've never stayed there. And I've been
that
there.
statement, you just hurt him even more. So
Yeah.
not only did you rank it low, then you admit, like, I don't know why I'm ranking it low. I've never been.
I've been
double
in
daggers.
I've been in it. I've eaten at the restaurants there. I like the location. I've never stayed there. It feels like it needs a refurb. I toured some DVC rooms one time when I was bored. I don't know. It's never been that high on my list. It's never, we don't even have it on the list to stay at anytime soon. So yeah, someone just yelled at me and turned it off. I
They should
apologize.
have.
Yep.
You
But I
can't
do
rank
love
it
the
low and be
dining
like,
and I love
I've
being on the
never stayed
boardwalk.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, you
I told you early on I was going to
yourself.
upset. I knew this was the one that was going to upset some people.
All right, so it's number 5 according to the listeners. I put it 11.
Oh, but now you're what? You give me a hard time for putting it at 10.
I've stayed there 3 times though.
Okay.
So one time our room, we physically had to leave. We were in like an annex. You know how in The Office they make fun of the annex? Like,
oh, I remember
we were
this
like
trip.
in another, and the door kept locking us out and it was pouring the whole time. God awful. Other time we stayed there, our balcony door wouldn't shut all the way. It was like it was crooked in there, so the bottom wouldn't actually close. So all the humidity, the noise, and we overlooked the entrance to the hotel. What were they doing at 6 a.m. the next day? You know all those nice bright light bulbs that light up the boardwalk sign on the front? They were replacing light bulbs with a scissor lift that beeped starting at 6 a.m. Just beep, beep, beep. Nobody cared when I complained. They didn't come fix the door. They didn't like say, "Oh, sorry, we woke you up at 6 a.m. on the one day you could sleep in." And then the other time we tried it, it just our room was so you can't walk out any other door. You stay at the beach club, the yacht club, you can walk out other doors to get to the sidewalk to go to Epcot. We couldn't do that because the access is limited to the center.
I want to send a personal message to Scott Lucas right now, one of our Patreons who is obsessed with the boardwalk. Doug and I apologize. We love you. We cherish you as one of our Patreons. Please forgive us
He
for
knows my
our
feelings.
dislike in
We've had
boardwalk.
this discussion.
All right, moving on, Doug.
But we've tried it 3 times.
I know I
We've
haven't
done
even
it.
tried it.
Like
Okay. So
we've
we're not
tried
staying
it.
there in June. Got it.
Maybe if somebody wants to
Okay.
pay for us to stay there, see if they can change my mind, have at it.
Oh,
We'll
wow.
do it.
Okay.
That's how I'm staying there. So yeah, it was 11 for me, which still isn't low. It's just not high.
Which is funny. Okay, so here's what's funny. My 11 was Yacht Club, and I feel like that's very similar taste, like with you. Got it.
Right.
Anyway, moving on. Let's. Yeah.
Well, my yacht club, yeah, it's splitting hairs. Just
Oh,
make
that's
the
another
people
one.
take another drink. Yeah. All right, number 4 on the listeners list, the Contemporary Resort. Derek,
I had this at number 7, which was tough because I've stayed there. Love the dining. Love it. I don't love all the people there. I feel like this does get touristy. And I just,
and you've already admitted you don't like to be around average people.
it's not average. I just don't like be
You
surrounded by
don't like
people.
the average guest going to Chef
Wow.
Mickey's. That's what I heard.
Okay.
Tell me that's not what
Shots
you're
fired
saying.
at Doug or at Derek. I don't know. It's funny because this should be higher up. I think if I ever do stay at Bay Lake Tower, which is on my list actually to stay at,
I don't know how you haven't. I'm worried about you. That's a
I know it blows
concerning
my mind actually.
admission.
I have
Keep
a
staying in the
feeling
same
this will
place
go
over
up.
and over. You gotta
I
go
know you're right.
experience the
You're
world,
right. I
Derek.
know.
Yeah, so Bay Lake Tower is amazing. And you've stayed in the garden wing,
Yep.
right? Have you ever stayed
Beautiful
in
rooms.
the tower?
No, not in the tower.
So just to help the listeners put that in perspective, Derek stayed in the garden wing. I've stayed in the garden wing a couple times. I've stayed in the tower many times. I've stayed in Bay Lake Tower many times. This resort is number 1 for Doug. Contemporary is number 1. I like being able to walk to and from the Magic Kingdom because the Magic Kingdom tends to be a place you're at late at night and you want to get to early in the morning. It's fantastic after a Christmas or Halloween party. I'll tell you that. 4th of July, we stayed there. My gosh, I never was more excited to walk back to a resort than watching the mob of people leave after those fireworks on the 4th of July. So the dining is fantastic. I really enjoy all the different levels of dining they have. The Contempo Cafe is just all right, though. I would like that one to be a hair better, but like Derek said, there are a lot of people. They're all coming to Chef Mickey's. And the only thing I wish, to be bougie, is when I'm staying in the tower, it's not cheap. I wish the people going to Chef Mickey's would use the escalators. You don't need the elevators to go to Chef Mickey's. You can take the escalators. And I wish they did better directing people to the escalators, to Chef Mickey's, and to the gift shops. But hey, there's like a confectionery counter in your right there in your resort.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Bay Lake. I'm sure it's going to go up when I stay there.
Bay Lake's fantastic. We've had some amazing rooms there. I enjoy the pools. They're simple. They're not overcrowded because both pools are about the same. And Bay Lake Tower does not have many rooms, so there's never too many people there. So,
all right, we've hit the top 3, Doug.
We did my number 1 already, so
there you go.
It's all downhill for me. Yes. All right, big discrepancy on this next one for me and the listeners. I'm not gonna lie. Number 3, Animal Kingdom Lodge. Whew, that's high. That's yeah. Where do you have it?
I had this at number 3, and I'm not gonna lie. I know
when I was doing this, does not match what you've said about it in the past.
It's funny. My daughter has been on this Animal Kingdom Lodge kick for the last couple weeks. She is sending me She has a phone now, so she sends me videos and pictures, and she keeps telling me how this was the best resort now. And she's just like, we got to stay there again. My wife's been in Animal Kingdom Lodge. I loved it. It was one of my favorite. It will rank as one of my favorite times at Walt Disney World with my family. Staying Kidani Village, having the view, the pool. I hate the transportation. I enjoyed the
Oh,
dining, but there was something. It's one of those trips that I still think about today, where we had that magical. We got the one bedroom, giraffes out our window every morning. It was a fantastic vacation. That one felt like a vacation to us, and it was during the pandemic, like right after
yeah.
everything reopened. So,
Park
like I
hours
said,
were short.
it's funny because
Couldn't
I have a
hop.
feeling if I stayed there again, I have a feeling it would drop. But like because of the magic, and like I said, when I was doing this list, it changed when I started talking to my kids about it. It was, I think, number 5, and it moved up to number 3.
All
So,
right,
but it's where you have it.
9.
Oh, I knew it was gonna be low for you.
I mean, transportation. If you want to wait 20 minutes for an Uber, it's a fantastic resort. If that's what you want to do. Also, our room was like 3/4 of a mile from the bus stop. I remember starting a like timer exercise, like, and we were at the end of the hall.
No.
It's huge. Jumbo House is massive, but the dining is really good, and that's not to be diminished. And you also have animals, which no one else has. So
Mhm.
it's 9. It's but the
I love both the pools,
transportation,
by the way.
yeah, the transportation's so bad though, so
Yeah.
bad. Like, why can't I at least get to Animal Kingdom fast?
Okay.
So
All
bad.
right.
All right. Number 2 on the listeners list. If you've been keeping score at home, you might be down to the top 2 and can guess. Number 2 is Beach Club. So,
Yeah,
how about
this
that?
was
Beach
number
Club.
1 on my list for a long time, for a good
Same here.
2 or 3 years. It dropped. I've stayed there 3 or 4 times now, and it has dropped mostly because of dining, but it's 4 on my list.
It's I think they just don't take care of you quite as good as some other places. Like, I we've had better luck with checking in at other resorts than Beach Club, but Beach Club has that location, has the Skyliner, has Epcot, Hollywood Studios not far
And the
away,
pool.
and the pool is what it is. The dining, other than counter service, is really good. I like Cape May Cafe. Um, and you're close
See,
to
I'm not even a
so
big
many
fan of Cape
options.
May.
For breakfast,
Okay.
it's got good characters, great characters. Got to go to breakfast. Dinner I could do without. Although it's surf and turf, so don't forget there's the turf part. But you know, last time when we went there that one time, Derek, remember when I wasn't going to tell him about my food allergy because I had looked over the menu, and then of course Alex, like, he has an allergy, like
Oh,
almost
yeah.
like in Jurassic Park where the guy's all nervous and he's like, look at him, look at, no one cares, no, like, thanks, thanks Alex.
Watching
And
out for
then
you.
I got my food after you guys were like done eating.
That happens.
That was a time. That was a time.
It's
um
crazy because Beach Club, I mean, number 1 on my list for probably a good 3 years. It's crazy
so
it's
where do
dropped.
you have it
4.
now?
Yep.
4. I have it at 2. So rooms are spacious, almost
See, I
always a
had a
decent
really
view.
bad room there, and that one room that I had, that was, like, the worst room I've stayed at of all of
Yeah,
Walt Disney
you were
property.
in the villas portion though.
I was in the villa, not only
So
villas, I was in a, handy that was the
the
time
handicap
that my
room, yeah.
room wasn't ready until 8:30 at
See, that's a
night.
and so that's a villas issue. It's like they I don't understand what it is, but the villas side at Beach Club can't figure their crap out. And the rooms they're refurbishing them now, but I think they're doing one room every 3 months. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
is the
the
worst room. Well, our window didn't close.
non-villas much better.
Our Oh my gosh. Well, and we got a refurb room in Beach Club, so I love that one. But yeah, you just
Yeah,
sometimes
we stayed in a real nice room
we did
for a rope
together.
drop trip for Beach Club. And the regular rooms fantastic. The villas though, oof, something's got to get fixed there. But I mean, we're really being hard on it considering it's number 2
Number
on
2 with
the
11
listeners
votes.
list for number 1.
Yep.
And
But that's
it's
not, yeah, maybe
number 2 on my
5,
list.
6. There you go.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
Number 1.
by a landslide. Like, not even like destroyed everything.
Probably statistically the biggest gap between any of them is between 1 and 2 here, and that is Polynesian Village. So, somebody messaged me and asked, "Why are we just rating the village portion?" I'm like, "Well, that's the name of the whole resort." So
Yeah,
they changed it a couple years ago. So Polynesian Village, number 1, hands down. I had it at number 3, Derek.
I had it at number 2.
Okay. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of all it's all a blur together.
You
I
wanted to
don't
say splitting hairs, didn't you?
no, I
Oh,
was didn't
okay.
you said it though.
I know I did.
So number 1, Polynesian Village. You guys love it. Most nostalgia for sure. I think for a lot of people.
Fantastic dining. You and I have said Ohana's our favorite restaurant.
Favorite, yeah.
One of the best bars on property, outdoor ball. One of my favorite pools on property. You can see fireworks from Magic Kingdom.
I think it
Like
has 2 of the
it's
best bars
it does.
because you got
Tambu
Trader
Lounge
Sam's and Tambu Lounge.
with the back scratcher. By the way,
Yeah,
thank you everyone who tags me when you get a back scratcher on Twitter and things like that on Instagram. It
yeah,
makes my day.
they're fantastic.
They are. They're a great drink. Yeah, I
Hmm.
love the Poly. This has been, I mean, my Riviera Poly is very small. Like the difference between the two.
Unlike the listeners' gap between Polynesian and Beach Club,
Yep.
which was large.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Polly, it won, and deserve. The rooms are fantastic. They've just been refurbished to a Moana theme, which some people don't like, but I thought they were great. Outlets everywhere, so you don't know that it's the oldest resort on property because of the refurbished. We should have mentioned that about Contemporary. The rooms are now refurbished outlets everywhere as well, but they're Incredibles themed, and actually, I enjoy that as well. I'm a sucker for theme. I would rather have a room do something that tells me, "Oh, I'm at Disney World," than am I in a Holiday Inn Express or a Hilton Garden Inn,
Okay.
if you know what I mean. I need a
I
little.
get it.
So I think that's part of my contemporary being up there too. But Polly, I love it.
I
I
do
love
love it.
Polly. I could put the Polly number 1, but because we're a little more park orientated, my 1, 2 go to resorts where it's an easy walk into a park because nothing beats walking to a park,
I have a
Derek.
feeling when this new tower goes up at the Polynesian, it might slip into a number 1, depending on
Oh,
how
it
that
could.
tower goes. Yep.
And depending on how they handle the increased traffic
Yeah.
and people, they struggled with Bay Lake Tower. They kind of flopped back and forth with check-in from one to the other. It took them a couple years to figure it out. So hopefully whatever they figured out over there will become what they have will do with the Poly. I
Hope
hope it
so.
has its own check-in for many reasons.
All
All right.
right, I'm gonna read some of the comments we got from some of
All
our
right. And
Patreons
and then I
on
have
their favorite
Michelle's
resorts,
comment
and
too.
I have Madison.
So
So
we'll
here we go. Kristen Reamer says, "My home away from home is the French Quarter. I love the vibe in the nightclub. I love knowing I'm home when I feel the beats upon arrival and smell of the beignets. The room is always perfect, and everything is within walking distance."
Yep, all true.
There you
I
go.
think it's the beads. I don't think it's the beats. I think it was beads because they
Beads.
give you the Mardi Gras beads,
They
right?
do. You're right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with beads instead of
Oh, we're
beats.
not
Although
editing
if the
that
jazz
out.
bands, the
Yeah, the
jazz
beats
band's
could
playing, then
be.
there are beats.
Yeah, you
They,
never know.
although when
All
we
right.
saw them that one night, they did more talking to the audience than they did
Oh, they
playing.
didn't stop talking. It's driving me nuts. So that's why I dropped on my list. Anyway, Scott Lucas,
Hmm.
contrary to Doug,
My
I
bad.
really enjoy the boardwalk. Great pool, tons of food options, either on the boardwalk or across the water at Yacht Beach. And according to what deals are being run, you can get that resort for a really good price relative to Yacht and Beach. You
Hmm.
can't beat walking to Epcot. And for my kids, the boats are a ride in themselves. All right, there you go. I'll stay there someday, Scott. It's on the list. I'll put it back on the list.
I didn't even mention the creepy chairs. There's creepy chairs in the lobby.
There are. I've sat in them.
So, and also it dropped a notch when they got rid of the crazy clown slide, in my opinion. That
I
was
agree with
so
that too.
weird. It
Yeah.
was fantastic.
Melissa says the Wilderness Lodge has everything I want in a resort. It has only one bus stop, boat transportation to Magic Kingdom, fantastic food options, and two pool choices where you can actually find a seat by the water. The theming is an added bonus and can be enjoyed every time of the year. And then Brett Nicole puts a yes. That's how I read it.
Mm,
In agreement with that.
okay.
Joseph Thompto says, we normally stay at Shades of Green, but our favorite resort to hang out at is the Polynesian. Great dining options with Ohana and Captain Cook's. Tamu Lounge is a great spot for a pre or post Magic Kingdom drink. You can also get a Dole Whip from the Pineapple Lana and or coffee on your way to the monorail.
Darn
There, you
right.
didn't even have the Dole Whip when you talked about the Poly,
I
Doug.
didn't. I didn't.
All right,
It's
Trisha.
it's good stuff.
All right. Trisha says, we really love to do split stays and stay closer to the parks, and that we will be going to during the part of the trip. But my absolute favorites are the Poly and Riviera. Same Z's, bestie. All right. The Poly has the nostalgia for me, the great smells, and of course, the awesome food. The Riviera has been a nice surprise. We love how close everything is, and the food options are really good here as well. And great counter service for those with food allergies. All right. Leslie Radke says contemporary hits every single item on my list. Nostalgia for the first visit. I took my kids, non bus transport to two parks. We frequent the most. Easy access to our second favorite resort to hang out in, Poly, and deluxe amenities. I know the pools get a lot of complaints, but we just aren't a pool family when we visit Disney. We get plenty of pool time outside of Disney trips. I also love the monorail over the Skyliner because I have three small kids and side by side double stroller, which means folding it up in the sky, folding it up for the Skyliner instead of rolling it on the monorail. And when the
Sure.
Skyliner is down, you're on a bus where all the strollers have to be folded up, is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So
All right. Is
there you
that is
go.
that all
That's
right?
all of our lists or Patreons that wanted to comment. Oh, and then Joe, I forgot
Yeah.
Joe from Back to the Mouse. Uh,
Backtothemouse.com. Go check out backtothemouse.com for all your free
Wilderness
reviews needs.
Lodge. There you go. He said Wilderness Lodge is the best resort. There is no comparison. All other resorts might as well be the campgrounds or All Star Sports. All right, Doug. What is Michelle, the Rope Drop Queen's favorite
All
resort?
right, here it is. My favorite resort is the Contemporary. The ease with which you can get to and from the Magic Kingdom is so valuable, and you can watch fireworks right from your balcony with a theme park view room. There is character dining on site, casual dining, and upscale dining as well. Literally something for everyone. Keep in mind that I am not a pool person, so that part does not factor in for me.
I love how you and her have the Contemporary at number one.
I did not know that was going to happen.
So I did know mine was going to happen. My wife said the Riviera as well. And she said three things: intimacy, Skyliner, and dining. Those three things set it apart from all the other resorts.
There you go.
And we talked about
Well,
all the drinks we've had at Bar Riva.
yeah, that's a whole nother show.
That is
Maybe.
that one
Well,
day we're going to do this whole thing with best bars on property, maybe best pools, all sorts of things. But this has been a lot of fun, a lot of
it
interesting
has.
ups and downs. We're going to talk more about that on the Patreon show, some of the like number part of it as well. So if you want to get that, you're going to have to go in the show notes, click that Patreon link and support the show. Thank you to all of our Patreons who filled out the form, support the show, and of course left us messages to read on air. We couldn't do this show without your support. And then if you want to book a trip to any of these resorts, it's a great time to book. Discounts are out. 2024 is going to be an amazing year to travel. You're going to have to go to Touring and Cruises. We'll have a link in our show notes as well. And they will help you book an amazing Disney vacation. And if you want to stay at the campgrounds, you can absolutely do that. So, Touring and Cruises. And that is all the time that we have. So, for Doug, I'm Derek. You've been listening to Rope Drop Radio.